I just need to get some information. Okay, so today I'm gonna be um, exposing AI, artificial intelligence. So, for those who don't know me, my name's Tandy K. I'm a musician, meaning like I don't just rap or sing. I do both of those, but I also produce. And I feel like I'm finally coming forward about AI because um, AI has like really tried to mess up my progress for the last like 2 years. I'll explain why in a second. And I've tried so many times to like speak out against it, like usually for the purpose of informing others that like there's this thing going around and you have to be careful of it, but also to try and defend myself against the people who are illegally selling my music to AI bot streaming playlists, because that is basically what it is. Um, I'm not really gonna go into too much backstory because I want to keep this video short and sweet or as best I can. But basically, the crux of it is people can illegally upload your music to a company that then goes and adds your song to a bot streaming playlist. This playlist will then generate like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of artificial bot streams, bot streams, and at at the same time, like that amount in listeners or however much they deem would be the appropriate amount of listeners to get 100,000 streams, for example, or 10,000 or something like that. So this is what's been happening to me, and if you've been following me for a while and subscribing to kind of my music journey and stuff, there were times where at the start I would be so proud because I would wake up and I would be like, oh my god, you know, my streams have gone from 300 or not even 300, even lower, like below 100 to like 1,000 and 2,000 and 3,000. I'm there getting so excited thinking, oh my god, my music is reaching heights. And then I go onto, you know, these playlists because I can see that my music's been added, and what I'm seeing is a complete opposite. So what they do, they will add your song to a playlist where it will get streamed hundreds of thousands of times, and you know that it's not legit because those listeners do not stay. If you have 500 listeners one day and then the next day you have 10, please explain to me how that works. If people have come and they've subscribed to your journey and they like what they're hearing, there's no way it can go from 500 to 10. Now think about people who are getting in the, I think in the past they used to even add like 1,000, 2,000 people, and then the next day it would be like in the 50s or something. So it just doesn't make sense. There's no logical explanation for how somebody can do that, but they do continue to do it. And then what happens is it completely mashes up my algorithm. My music radio is like filled with music that sounds nothing like mine. There are people promoting porn as well. They're like naked in their covers, and I'm just thinking, how on earth? Because I remember times when I had covers that were like considered explicit by my music distribution company, and I wasn't allowed to upload them because they said it would have got flagged, and all I was doing was like sitting in a certain way that was like maybe a bit provocative or like suggestive or whatever. But people can like be fully naked. Like I'm talking about like a. I'll give you examples because I'm not gonna post the things on here. And then that's like me promoting other people's like nudity, but it's like, you know, imagine a man like sprawled out, you know, and you can see his bum cheeks, like no pants, no trousers, no nothing, or you know, like AI porn basically. Children use Spotify. I remember using Spotify when I was 14, so it makes sense. If it was, you know, an adult streaming platform only, then I guess they probably wouldn't have that rule, because it would be like, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. But children, they have less of a cognitive ability to differentiate between what's appropriate and what isn't, and you're infiltrating their minds with rubbish, to be quite honest. And that's the stuff that gets promoted under my music. Now, I'm not going to put myself a higher level, like 10 times higher than everybody else, but when I go and listen to the stuff that's in my radio, you know, most of the time it sounds nothing like what I make. It's a completely different genre. And considering that when I had even like 50 monthly listeners, my radio consisted of music that was like R&B, you know, and was like other UK based R&B artists, Black British artists, especially making R&B music. That was what was in my radio, and now it's like completely different, and it just makes me feel sick, to be honest. So this has been going on for a while. At first I didn't know what to do. I would just kind of screenshot the playlist. I have reported it to the police multiple times because, you know, it's just ridiculous. I think I knew who was responsible, but they said I didn't have enough evidence to prove that that person or that group of people were responsible. Do I think it's still them? Yeah, but I'm not going to go out of my way. You know, if the police can only do so much, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to try and put it on one person, when what I can do and what I have done is contact the company directly. I found emails, websites or websites of emails, whether they're, you know, fraudulent websites, whether they're pseudo websites, whatever, there's still contact information on there. So last time this was done to my production music, that's just beats. Like one of them is like a remix of like a song where I'm singing and rapping, but the other two songs, there's only 3 songs there, the other 2 songs are literally like beats with no music, and I don't have many listeners on there. So when that happened, because I don't really check the statistics for that page because I have more listeners on, you know, where I'm singing and rapping, I didn't actually notice for a few days. But the second I noticed, again, I contacted the police because the playlist was like, had this most ridiculous name that was like so personal to me, and, you know, found the information with the help of the police. I found the information for the company. I told them, if you don't take my music down, I'm going to sue you. Lo and behold, the next day the music was gone. My music has not been botted since. If you can't understand why it's problematic, then I'm so sorry, but you're an idiot. Because it's like, again, if someone's music is jumping from 200 listeners to 3,000 listeners, it will only stay like that for 30 days and then it will drop back down, probably even lower, because it's like, you cannot reach that height. The algorithm is not pushing you to that height naturally. So yeah, it's going to cause you to fail. And also, it's illegal, might I add. It's fraudulent, it's illegitimate. So therefore, it gets flagged with streaming companies. So like I said, if you cannot understand why, if music is all that they have, like, why can't you not, you know, mock someone who stands up against AI? Why can you not put that on them, that they're responsible, despite them saying that they're not involved? You know, that is where society's going wrong. You have musicians who cannot eat or drink or sleep because they're scared that their expression is being censored. It's ridiculous. So like I said, if you can't understand why it's messed up, then you're an idiot. First of all, I want to talk about Running on Empty. I want to give a shout out to the LGBTQ plus community, because I feel as if you guys have really shown me a lot of love and support, especially like over this past year, and I feel as if you guys have also really lifted me out of like this AI funk that I've kind of been placed in, because I see a lot of like suggested artists under my page and in my radio who are from like the trans community and a lot of like gay males, and I feel like, you know, it's nice to listen to your music and kind of hear like the way you express yourselves and stuff, and it's like very inspiring and encouraging. So thank you so much for the support. Just keeping it real, like I've got so much support. Also, like the end of last year as well, like I was getting a lot of support from the LGBTQ plus community, so thank you guys for that. And yeah, now I'm going to talk about Running on Empty. So Running on Empty, I basically made the song with very little because I didn't have access to the beat at the time when I wanted to drop it. So I basically had a recording of the beat on my phone. So like I'd taken a video of the beat for some reason, but it was very clunky. The chorus wasn't even fully recorded, so I basically had to input that into like a computer system, and then make the beat. And then obviously I had the lyrics. I recorded the lyrics, or recorded the audio, recorded the vocals, and then released it. And honestly, like that was like a really difficult time for me because I didn't have access to like all the stuff that I have now, like Logic and things. So I was basically using anything I could find. I think I used Adobe Sound something in out of all the tracks. This year it's got like really high streaming numbers. A lot of people have listened to it, people who listen to hate, people who bought stream, and my genuine supporters. So shout out to all of you guys. It is like really exciting to know that like the spirit of Baby K is still being kept alive. Like it's literally the first song. I had such a difficult process with making it and producing it as well. So to know that you guys enjoy it and keep listening to it more than any other song that I released really means a lot. And I was thinking that maybe the fact that it is so kind of like clunky, it's like I wouldn't call it grunge because grunge would put me in like a different genre, and I am an R&B artist. I feel as if it definitely is like different, you know. It sounds like slightly alternative and maybe a bit like rough around the edges. Which, thank you so much for that and for listening to how I made it and everything. Yeah, and I just feel like the song is about going through hardship and like struggle, but not like backing down, you know, find the way out of a lot of difficult situations. And I feel like one of the most impactful lines is, I bashed my head and I stood down and still got up the same night. Basically meaning like you can knock me down, but I'm still gonna get back up. And if you think about the title, like running on empty, it's like imagine like you're running, but you're not like running in one spot. Like you're running, but you're going somewhere, even if you don't have a lot, even if you're tired. And that is like basically what I was going through when I even released it. Like I didn't have much to offer, but I took the little bit that I had and gave it to you guys. And I know people often say like you can't pour from an empty cup and things like that, which is valid, but I think that this in the same breath, you know, why not? A lot of people give when they don't have much to give. Like people who often don't have a lot to give yet still give, that's when you know that it's genuine, you know, because they're not necessarily going to gain anything back from it. And that's, in my opinion, when you know that a gesture from someone who barely has anything is more genuine than someone who has a lot. But yeah, anyway, stay tuned for the remaining song explanations because I stopped on 10. It was strategic, but I was also very fatigued. So now I'm a lot better. There's 3 more left. Thank you for watching this one if you made it to the end of one, and